heart so much when I think about what God has done for me. How he brought me, how he saved me, how he raised me. How he held on to me. When I was going one way, he pulled me. He wouldn't let go. He wouldn't let go. Thank you, God. He said, no, you belong to me. He belongs to me. I am so full this morning. I'm just moved by the service so far. You know, it's an awesome thing when the Holy Spirit show up before the Word. Amen. You know, it's an awesome thing when he runs through the church and he just touch. It's just an awesome thing. It's almost unbelievable sometimes when I experience that in church. You know, it'd be like, oh my goodness, you know, we haven't even heard the sermon, and the Holy Spirit is already letting you know that God is real. And for that, I am truly grateful. You know, last week I was supposed to come and I had everything all mapped out, and I had some of my coworkers that were going to come with me that was going to talk about some things that were important to me that's going on in our community. I don't know if you're aware, but there's a drug epidemic. And it's tearing down Pensacola. It's tearing down families. It's destroying the lives of children. It's destroying the lives of men. The women, I mean, in my heart, I have a burden for women because I am a woman. And I've been with these women all right now, you know, so I can just feel it in my spirit. I can feel it in my soul when I come in contact with them at work, and, you know, when I'm doing different things. You know, I was telling my mom, I always talk about the sycamore tree. When I was a little girl, I used to walk to school, and I used to pass this sycamore tree, and I used to hear the rustling of the leaves and what they sound like. You know, and the sound, sometimes it'll be real calming, and sometimes it'll be real like something's happening, real rushed, you know, depending on the wind. And when I purchased my home, laying below there was a sycamore tree right in my neighbor's yard. And when I sit on my porch, I could see the sycamore tree. You know, and even today, I still sit, when I sit on that porch, I look at that tree. And it's so significant to me because when I look at it, it's got all these bumps and humps and all these scars and scratches, and, you know, it just looked terrible. But when you look up at the leaves, they're green. More beautiful than any tree I've ever seen, the leaves on this tree. And they're so majestic, and the sun shines through them, and they just bright, and it's like they shone out, you know. And I have been fascinated with it. And I think one of the reasons is because, to me, the sycamore tree reminds me of me. You know, I was battered, I was beaten down, you know, I had all kind of lumps and humps, character defects, and, you know, just all types of things, you know. And God just lifted me up. Amen. You know, he just lifted me up. He made the leaves shine and rustle. And the leaves still rustle when they're green. And the sound is still soothing. You know, but in the fall, when they start to turn brown, you know, it's like a strong storm. You can hear it. But it's one of the best sounds I've ever heard. You know, and that's like, it means something to me. I always share with my mom. I'm going to write a book about that. That's going to be the title, Sycamore Tree. You know, how you rise above with the scars. How you rise above with the energy. How you go out and you tell people this is what God is doing. You know, and as I thought, you know, like I said, I was going to do something totally different. And I was like nervous. I'm always nervous. I speak a lot, but I'm always nervous when I do speak. And my mom called me this morning. She said, Harold, God told me to tell you, whatever it is, just let it be about you. Amen. All right. Let it be about about you. Let it be about your testimony. And I said, okay. And that kind of like gave me some clarity, and I was like, okay, this is perfect. I'm glad you called on me. But I thought about Paul, on his way to Damascus. I have two favorite stories in the Bible, and one is Paul and all the books that he's in, and then the other one is about the woman at the well. And this one is in Acts chapter 9. This is the verse where Paul and Damascus wrote. It says, then Saul, still breathing threats and murder against the disciples of the Lord, went to the high priest and asked letters from him to the synagogues of Damascus, so that if he found any who were of the way, whether men or women, he might bring them bound to Jerusalem. As he journeyed, he came to Damascus, and suddenly a light shone around him from heaven. Then he fell to the ground, hearing a voice saying to him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? And he said, who are you, Lord? Then the Lord said, I am Jesus, who you are persecuting. It is hard for you to kick against the goal. So he, trembling and astonished, said, Lord, what do you want me to do? Then the Lord said to him, arise and go into the city, and you will be told what you must do. And this reminds me of me. I wasn't persecuting anybody. I think I persecuted myself more. I would put myself in bad positions in the world. I was addicted to drugs and alcohol. I lived to drink and I drank to live. And whatever that entitles and whatever that needed to be done, I would get it. It didn't matter who I hurt. It didn't matter who I went through. It didn't matter. None of that mattered to me. None of it mattered. I had 3 children, and thank God for a praying mom. Thank God for a praying mama. Thank God for a praying family. Because they prayed. There were many times when I wanted to go home, because this disease of addiction had me so raw. I was so choked off. It was like I was choked off from life. I couldn't hear a word from anything. I couldn't hear a word from anybody. I can listen to what you were saying, but I couldn't hear you. I can listen to you telling me I was destroying my life, but I couldn't hear you. I could listen to you telling me I was going to die if I didn't stop, but I couldn't hear you. I could not hear. And my mom, she is amazing. She is amazing. Because I would come home and I would been out 2 or 3 days, and I would be so ashamed, that I wouldn't even want her to touch me. And she would grab me and she said, I'm not scared to hold you. She said, I'm not scared to touch you. She said, are you hungry? You want some food? She said, let me bring you bath water. And she would go in there and she would do all that. And she would nurture me and nurture me. And 2 more days later, after I get some rest, I'll be gone again. I could never stop. I couldn't stop on my own. I couldn't stop on my own. Every time something would happen, it always seemed like it ended up with the skin chemicals. And to this day, they are part of my story. They are part of the story where I am grateful. I am grateful to them. Because when I think of all the things that happened to other women that was out there, and how I was saved, and I ran into some of those accounts. But see, what sometimes people don't understand is God be with you when you don't even know He with you. You don't even recognize that God is with you, and He be with you. You think you be strolling along on your own, but God be right there. I encountered these things, he would be there. Now, it wasn't until the fall cleared and my mind got right that I knew that he had to be there. Because that was an incident where I was surely supposed to die. And didn't. That was an incident where he was surely supposed to blow my brains out, and he didn't. Because I had these type of encounters with people. Because for some reason, drugs and alcohol make you think you're 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Okay. I don't know why, but it does. It makes you think you can do things you can't do, say things you can't say, and it gives you this false sense of self, you know, that you really got it going on. You know, and it is not until I passed by the mirror a couple times that I started looking like the poor people, because I didn't know that I was that bad. You know, I didn't know I was that bad, but I was. You know, and God made a way for me to get into this program, and I had been in several programs. I'm not going to bore you with all those, but it was about 5 of them, and I couldn't get it right. And the next one that I went to, I started to listen, and I started to hear what people were saying, you know. And all of a sudden, like Paul, the light came on. The light came on. And it was like he was when Ananias came and touched him, and the scales fell from his eyes. That's how I was. The scales fell from my eyes, and I realized what I had been doing and what had been going on. But see, another transformation had taken place. I had became willing to listen to the word of God. Because he had been talking to me. He had been talking to me, but I couldn't identify that it was him. I couldn't identify it was him until the fog had cleared. Because the enemy was on this side confusing the message. And long as I was walking in the enemy's mess, I couldn't hear God. But the minute I had to step back, I was able to hear the message. I was able to hear the message I needed to hear in order to get free. And they sent me to a program, and it's amazing because the people that I work for now is the people I started out with in my disease. I used to be a client. I used to be one of their clients. And there was a lady there who believed in me. You know, she believed in me. It's something when you have somebody right here next to you that believes in you. You know what I'm saying? It's something when you have somebody that believes in you, somebody that encourages you. You know what I'm saying? So if you got somebody in your life and they're not doing exactly what you feel like they ought to be doing, just believe in them. Pray for them. Pray for them. Keep putting them before the Lord. You know? But this woman, she believed in me. And every time I failed, she would come get me. Come on, we're gonna try this treatment something this time. I fall again. She'll come get me. Come on, we're going to try this one. And I said, why do you keep doing this? You ever thought maybe I don't want to get clean? She said, I'm doing this because I believe in you. She said, it's something in you. She said, the Lord had already told me, it's something in you, it's something about you. He's already told me. So I finally did get clean. And they provided, the services then during that time provided therapy. They provided individual group counseling, you know, and I attended all those. And, you know, with the girls that are in my group, I do, on Mondays, I do 4 groups a week, 4 group sessions a week. And our theme in my group sessions is called Bag Lady. I don't know if y'all ever heard everybody do Bag Lady. And she talks about this lady with this bag who almost about to miss the bus because she's dragging that bag with her everywhere she goes. So what we talk about in those groups is unloading the bag. Let's find out how we can just give this to God Let's find out how we can leave it here with him. Let him take it. And when the load starts getting light, the lighter the load, the more free. And it's amazing, you know. And I had one who, her 3-year-old told her, you know, and evidently her mom had taught her how to pray. And the 3-year-old baby told the mother that, she said, Mom, she said, I'm not praying anymore. I'm not going to pray anymore. God don't hear me. He's not paying attention to me. You know, I'm not praying anymore. And after she shared this with me, she told me, she said, Miss Carol, she said, I'm with my baby. I'm just done. Nothing is changing in my life. You know, these people still got my kids. This is still going on. That's going on. And I started to cry. Because I know that prayer is the only thing going to make a difference. Amen. So I started crying. And when I started crying, I said to God, I said, Lord, I don't know what to say. What do I tell her? What do I tell her? And the Lord said to me, because he talks to me. I have a personal relationship with God. Amen. And he said to me, he said, Carol, he said, tell her, sometimes it ain't about the prayer. Sometimes it's not about the prayer. It's about believing. Amen. Believing that your situation is going to change. That's right. It is going to change. But knowing that there's also some things that we have to do to make this change. You know, because sometimes we want to sit around and think that God just going to snap miracles out the sky. He's going to clear it all up. It's going to be okay. But today I know that there are some things that I have to do. In order to be blessed, I got to walk in the blessing. Amen. You know? In order to receive it, I have to be in the place to receive it. Amen. You know, and God has touched me in so many ways when it comes down to me talking to these women and sharing my experience and sharing the hope. Because it's about the hope. Yeah. You know, if he can pick me up from where I was, he can pick up anybody. Amen. Because I thought I was the lowest of the lowest and the worst of the worst. But God picked me up just where I was. And he saved me. Amen. He thought I was worth it. Yeah. Amen. Yes. He thought I was worth it. Amen. And he saved me. Amen. When I look at the other addicts and alcoholics out there, I think when God saved me from where I was, and when I'm riding down the street, I have to take my granddaughter to school to catch her school bus every morning. And when I'm riding down the street, you know, I see these women, and these women are walking, and their face, the way their face look, just disgusted, just humiliated, just tired, broken, hurt. You know, it's another book that I read that talks about 100 forms of fear. And she had all of that on her face. And every time I see a woman like that, what comes to my mind is, but for the grace of God, there go I. And I think my God had it situated like that. Like, Carol, you know, I'm saving you, but I want you to remember. You know, it's actually like my rainbow. I don't know how to explain it, but when I see it, it's like, oh man, bless her, Jesus, bless her. Take care of her, don't let nothing happen to her. Don't let her die. You know, because some people actually think that people with the disease of addiction do what they do because they want to do that. They know better. They just want to do it, but it's so much deeper. And I just want to ask you, as my church family, when you see this, pray for them. Yeah. Right then, pray for them. If they walk up to you at the store, ask them, can I pray for you? Because I didn't know when my deliverance was going to come. I didn't know how it was going to come. But it came.
Amen.
Amen. Now, I don't know if it was the prayers that, I know it was some of the prayers, but the prayers that Mama prayed 2 o'clock in the morning, the ones done that prayed at 4, the ones the twins prayed, because they were children, but they were praying. Because we come from a praying family, so they were praying. And I think about what all they had to go through. Being the child of a practicing addict. A mother who wasn't there for them when they needed me. You know. It was hard forgiving myself for that. It was hard. But because of a program that I go to and because of a God of my understanding who will always bring me out. Yes. Because he told me he would.
Yes. Amen.
He told me I will always bring you out.
Yes. Amen.
As long as you leaning on me, I will always bring you out. And I remember coming back and trying to be the mother to them again. And trying to do what it was that I needed to do. And Ashley had took over the whole family. Ashley took over the family, whatever was going on. And she was young. But she became that figure to her sister, to her brother. And they would go to her. And they would talk to her. And when I got back, I tried to set up counseling and therapy for them. And, you know, and Ashley told Angie, you better not say anything. This is family business. You know, so she stopped her dead on her tracks about getting therapy. So that didn't work out, you know. But because I'm a mom who understood that I was in therapy, I was getting healthy. You know, I was able to allow them to be where they needed to be and to learn how to trust me again. You know, and when that took place, that was really a blessing. That was really a blessing. You know, they began to trust me. They began to come to me. They, you know, mine need this, mine, you know. It was just wonderful to have that invite back into their lives to where they trusted me. You know. And God made all that possible. Amen. He made it all possible. Amen. Not me. He made it all possible where I can have a relationship with them. And even with my son, you know, my son and I, we bump heads. We used to bump heads so bad. You know, I stayed on my knees asking for forgiveness. And one day, because of how much I wanted it to be better and how much he wanted to be better, and I know both of us was praying, it's not like that anymore. Even that relationship has shifted. Amen. It's better. You know, and I tried to give the message to, you know, to other people in recovery that if you do your part, God gonna do the rest. Amen. He gonna do the rest. You know, some of my Swanseas and some people that I mentor, they don't understand why it's still certain streets that I don't drive down. You know, and they said, well, Miss Carrie, you know, I can't go that way. It's a monster down this street. You know, and I'll say something funny like that to them, but it's just that God has already told me where to go. You know, I don't need any redirection. I don't need any redirection because God has already told me where to go. I don't need anybody to redirect me. So I stay on the course. I stay focused. You know, when I got sick and I had to have open heart surgery and my world fell apart, I had to move with my mom. And I was like, man, you know, I did all this. I struggled to fall and got clean. I'm back home. The girls in college and this going on, that going on. Why am I sick? You know? But I was gravely ill. I had to leave my home and move in with my mother and my father, who was also sick. And I stayed there, and you know, Mom took care of me and Dad. And it was sometime when the Lord gave me strength to help my mom take care of my father. You know, I just can't believe sometimes the power in Christ and the love that goes so deep and so wide for us, for me, that he loved me like he do. You know. And I remember I had to have surgery, and I was going in surgery, and I was afraid. I didn't know, you know, but I had already been praying and been talking to the Lord, and the Lord told me before I went in, he said, Carol, he said, if you come out, it's all right. He said, if you don't, it's okay. Now, knowing my God the way I know my God, I knew exactly what that meant. And I was satisfied, and I was able to let them put me under and have the surgery. You know, but after I had the surgery and I began on my way to my recovery, I told a friend of mine, I said, it just don't feel like I'm doing enough. I said, I was so grateful for what God had done, you know, because I was supposed to have the transplant, and then they say, no, we can fix you without that. You don't need all this. And that took place. But when they first told me I needed the transplant, my mom told them, God will fix what she has. She already spoken into existence. When they said that, she spoke it into existence. He's going to fix the one she has. Amen. And that's exactly what took place. Amen. And after all this was over and I was getting better, and I told my friend girl, I said, you know what? It don't seem like I'm doing enough. You know, I started getting antsy. You know, I said, it's something I need to do. I said, girl, you know what God done did in my life? I said, I need to be doing something. I said, I feel like I need to be standing out on the corner with a Bible, just hollering and screaming, telling the Lord did this for me. He did. You know, I just, you know, and I thought about my scar. And when people would ask me about it, you know, because they say, well, you're young, they don't know how old I am. And I say, you know, and I say, that's my won't he do it. That's my won't he do it. Won't he bring you from it? Yes. Won't he bring you to it? Yes. And that's what he had did. And I was amazed, and I told her, I said, I gotta be doing, I need to do something. So I got this thought in my head, and I started going back to WISE, and that's what we call, where I work at, we call it WISE, because it's also Women's Intervention Services and Education. And I started going back up there because I used to go all the time, even when I was clean, just to see the lady who used to be my case manager. I see her, and I go in, I sit on the groups, I talk to the women, I would do all of that, you know. And so I started back doing that. I said, it's gotta be, I know it's something God wants me to do. And after 3 weeks of doing that, the director of that program came to me, and she said, Carol, she said, I got a job for you. I said, for me? She said, yeah. She said, I got a job for you if you're interested. I said, of course I'm interested. Because when I got sick, I had to stop working. You know, I wasn't working. I was only getting disability. I said, for me? She said, yeah. And I went in her office, and she told me about this program for certified recovery specialists and what all it entailed and the trainings and all of that. And she said, well, wherever you have to go, we'll send you. And they started sending me out of town for different trainings. They started sending me, you know, I went to Naples, I went to Chipley, and a couple more other places I can't remember, but they paid all expenses and everything. Amen. They paid for my testing to get my certification. And then it came upon this thing where you have to be certified for the state of Florida in order to work with children and elderly, you know. And of course, you're not supposed to have any felonies. And, you know, I had felonies from here to, I'm not going to say, but just to tell you how God operates. Okay? I filled out the sheet and the form, and I got so upset, and I went to the girl, the human resource lady, and she said, Carol, don't be so nervous, don't worry. I said, what are they talking about? You can't, I got all of that. I got that too. She said, don't worry about it, we'll fix it, we'll handle it. I said, okay. We went to fill in everything. everything out. And we filled it all out. And I sent it in there. She said, "You ready to send it?" I said, "Yeah." I had to go and buy paperwork from each one of the charges. Even had to send way to Houston, way out of Houston, catching charges. Had to go get all that together. Pay them to send that. They sent all that to me. After they sent all that, she said, "Okay, let's send it out." And so I sent the paperwork out. I told Mom, I called Mom. I think I came to your house, didn't we pray about that paperwork? And we prayed, we sent it out, and it went out. I was so afraid. About 4 weeks, the letter came back. They wanted to know why I did everything I had to do. Like, why? Didn't I tell you I was a grown man? So I feel all that out. I'm sitting there, Charity looking at me, the lady in the room, and I'm just crying. I'm feeling all that, and I send that back to her. 2 weeks later, I get a letter. It is our pleasure to inform you that you have been exempted. Come on. And you can now work with the elderly and children in the state of Florida. They cleared all of that. And I was like, "Lord, have mercy." Thank you. I had no idea. I knew, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like when I was sick and I would tell people, I said, "I know I can die, but I just don't think I will." But I know I can, you know. And that experience was sort of like that. But you know, God is so awesome. Amen. You know, and He moved through me and He moved in me every day. I mean, I eat, breathe, and sleep my program of recovery. Everybody I see that want my help, I give my help. I'm in possession of 3 phones. One is my work phone, one is my personal phone, and one is the hotline phone because I have a recovery hotline. And I don't turn any of them off. Right. And my co-workers be like, "Girl, you don't turn that out as soon as Friday comes, 5:30, I turn that off." I said, "Well, I can't. I can't afford to turn my phone. An addict may be in distress. All right.